Once upon a time, long, long ago, there lived a large family on the edge of the wood. Working the land was very hard in those days, so they had as many children as the gods would give them, so they had all the help they could possibly need. The youngest of these children was a small boy. He was always asked to fetch things from the market because he was so quick. His mother would say, "Boy, here's a gold piece. Go and buy seed to plant for the season." And off he would go. Now, the road to the market was through the wood next to the family's land. It took half a day to get there, and half a day to return. Anytime the boy ran to the market and back, there was no light left. Without the light, the boy couldn't play outside for fear of being snatched up by the dangerous things that prowl after dark. It made the boy very angry, but there was nothing he could do. One day, the boy was running through the wood on his way home from the market when he heard a gruff voice call out to him, "Boy, can you help me?" The boy turned to see a wolf. He didn't know they came out during the day. He was about to sprint off, but the wolf cried out again, "Boy, can you help me?" Being taught to always help those in need, the boy asked the wolf if he needed help. The wolf told him that he needed the boy to catch the moon for him. He loved the moon so, but he only saw it in its full beauty a few days a month, and he wanted it with him all the time. The boy was about to refuse outright, but then he thought, if I can catch the moon, I can decide when it comes out and when it doesn't, which means I can make the day last longer, and I'll finally have time to play. The boy agreed to help the wolf, but he asked how they could possibly catch the moon. That's when the wolf lifted his paw to reveal a small trinket. "The moon likes to hide when it's not full in the sky. With this charm, you'll be able to find it and catch it." The boy marveled at the charm. It was white with flecks of red and felt cool to the touch. No sooner had the boy gotten his hands on the charm, he took off down the path, back to his house. Turning his head back for the briefest moment, he saw the wolf's tail disappearing into the green of the wood. That night, snug in his bed, the boy played with the charm. Suddenly, it began to glow. Red light started to creep and cover the small room he slept in with all his brothers and sisters. Careful not to wake any of his siblings, the boy wrapped up the charm in cloth and snuck out into the night. He hoped to bury it, recover it later, and hunt the moon once the sun came out. But the farther he got from his house, the brighter the light became. Once his house was out of sight, the light from the charm was almost blinding. Checking the small clearing he'd stumbled upon for signs of anyone else, he unwrapped the cloth. Once free from its woolen prison, the charm's light burst forth and began to spin overhead above the clearing. It moved so fast it made the boy's head spin. Looking up through dizzy eyes, the boy saw that the red light was now a floating orb. The orb of light that had taken shape stopped spinning and hovered before a tall tree on the edge of the clearing. It lingered for a moment, then shot up into the leaves. Half a moment later, the orb returned. Wrapped in its beams was a small white bird with blank white eyes. The boy took one look at the bird and instantly knew. "The moon," he said joyously. "I caught the moon. Now I can play as long as I want." He snatched the bird and danced around, singing, "I have the moon, I have the moon, I have the moon." He was so caught up in his triumph, he didn't see the large tree root poking out of the ground, right in his path. As he danced, his foot caught on the root and he tumbled to the ground with a sickening crunch. In his horror, the boy opened his hands. The light from the charm had dissipated. The only red that remained was the blood mingled with the white feathers that had fallen off the bird's mangled body. Instantly, the dark sky grew darker. The sliver of moon that hung high vanished from the sky. Knowing he had committed a terrible wrong, the boy hid away in a dark cave, away from his family, away from the wolf, away from the gods. But it was no use. The natural order had been disrupted. The scales needed to be balanced. With a crack of thunder and a gust of wind, the gods ripped the boy from his hiding place to answer for his crime, along with his partner in crime, the wolf. Booming voices were heard from the sky directed at the cowering accused.
You have destroyed the form of the moon. Justice demands you pay in kind. To give the moon its shape once more, yours shall be taken from both of you. Both of you shall be bound forever. You will be reminded of your crime whenever the moon is full.
And with that, the full moon rose high into the sky. The wolf disappeared as the boy's form twisted and cracked. His screams were heard in every village for miles. The boy was never seen again. But mutilated livestock began to appear every month. Tracks were found near the carcasses. Tracks larger than any wolf or bear any of the villagers had ever seen. Until the very night she died, the boy's mother swore she heard her lost child, every full moon, screaming and howling at the moon in sorrow and regret.